enables freedom of speech and debate, and I think it's very important that we have this dialogue.
Minister, I don't know if there's any other law that imposes a 3-day wait on any medical treatment. I don't know if it applies for Viagra, I don't know if it applies for a rhinoplasty, but forcing women to wait for a health treatment that's extremely time sensitive, that's very geographically difficult to access, and that's medically unnecessary, damaging, patronising, and puts extra resources on our health service has to go. And Minister, would you agree with that?
Thank you, Deputy, and I appreciate the question. Of course, my department is committed to making sure that there are safe and equitable access to termination of pregnancy services. We have tried to take a number of important actions to give effect to that, as you are more than aware, but it might allow me to update the House. In line with Programme for Government, all 19 maternity hospitals are now providing termination of pregnancy services, and there has also been a continuous increase in the number of community providers, which currently stands at 487. That is hugely significant in the context of respecting women's rights and choices. My department also approved the revised model of care introduced in COVID. As the enduring model of care under a blended approach, it's possible for one of the 2 consultations that are currently prescribed by legislation for termination in early pregnancy to take place remotely. Safe access zones, of course, were introduced to protect the right to lawful access to healthcare services with dignity and privacy. And the cumulative aim and effect of these measures is to substantially reduce barriers and increase availability of services for those who need them. The legislation in place is consistent with the commitments given to the Irish people prior to the repeal of the 8th Amendment. The issue of legislative change, including the changes to the 3-day wait, require very careful consideration. I respect the varying different views in this House, the varying different views on this bench, on these benches, on those benches, in respect of the steps taken to be provided. I do think it's important, and that's the reason that I voted last week to enable Deputy Murphy's bill to come back on the floor of the House. It is important that we are a chamber that enables freedom of speech and debate, and I think it's very important that we have this dialogue. And there are, of course, in that legislation a number of different specific issues, some of which I might agree with, some of which I would definitely not agree with. But I do think it's important that we have this very broad debate. I also respect the work of the review that took place, but there is no consensus at the moment in relation to the next steps forward, and that is why you bringing this question today is so important to continue that debate.